Almost 6 feet. Alright, let's let the chicks out this morning. They're over a week old. Haven't been keeping the heat lamp on them. Now they're plenty warm with their little bit of feathers, and they're in the room, so they're at room temperature. Cover them up with this box. It's kind of like mama hen. Uh-oh. Another one bites the dust. We did lose one the other day, and then here's one. I think this is the late hatcher. This is so small. I think it was probably just weak and didn't make it. I've dug a pit into the middle of the compost pile. Check out the hungry dinos. I refilled their feeder this morning. They were going nuts over it. They are bred to eat.
Papa?
Yes?
Can we get that naked out?
Oh sure, the snake has a skin in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see your sword. I'm just nervous that he's in there. It's not poisonous. It's still no fun to be bit by a snake.
Jonah! Papa's getting it out. Wow, that's cool.
For some reason it's hung up back here. There it is.
Got it.
There you go, guys.
Wow.
Huge snake. So there he is. That's a big guy.
Yeah.
That's who's living in your yard.
He's huge. He's longer than you, isn't he? Let's see how long he is, Papa. Yikes, that's good.
Okay, hand me his tail.
Whoa, he's huge.
Almost 6 feet.
Wow.
Hey, let's talk Mama Hen for a second. She's terrible in a brooder. Look at her scratching. She's getting wood chips all up in that. I have to come out here and clean it at least twice a day, if not 3, look. And then she's got wood chips all up in the water too. But the good thing about Mother Hen is you can put her and the chicks out at day 1. I'm a little late setting her out, but I need to get her out today. I don't want to just free range the mama and the little guys because we've got a bad hawk problem and they'll get the little chicks. So you've got to confine them, and they won't stay in an electric poultry net because the openings at the bottom are even too big for the chicks. And they'll get out, mama can't get out and protect them, and they'll get got. So my solution for now is a pastured poultry pen. For me, you could use a chicken tractor or something like that. It's a covered coop without a floor that you move around over the grass. So here's my pastured poultry pen, buried in grass from last year. Hasn't been used since then. So hopefully it's still intact enough that I can move it from there to there.
Papa,
yeah.
Mother Hen's gonna like this place.
All looks good. So now I wanted something to put under her nesting box to keep her off the ground in case it rains, keep her dry. I found the cinder block, flat one. I think that'll work. What are you guys doing?
We're gonna put meat on this pole and see if any raptors will come and get it.
See, she's already buried her feed and hasn't even been 2 hours. How y'all gonna eat that? You ready to move? It would be ideal to move them at night when they're all settled in, but I just can't let them go on like this for one more day. So I'm gonna try to put the chicks in there first and then put her in there on top of them. They're getting out. You know what, let's get her first. And maybe she'll sit on them. She's so bad. Hey, ready? Is this how they ended up getting so fat? You sneaking feeding them? Okay, just feed them that one pail, okay?
Okay.
This is much better, right guys? I got just this slap together thing the boys put together sometime, put the water rower on that, put a piece of board under the feed. We'll see how that does. Lily's feeding them some whole grains. We'll see if mama breaks that up for them. Yeah, look at her, she's trying to break it up for them. Now let's finish what we started yesterday and mulch up there in the kitchen garden. Beauty was actually mulching, then came across this. It looked like it might be a little copperhead, so we did kill it actually, because it'd be very poisonous. I think she's inside looking to see what that is.
So I looked it up and it was a northern water snake, and it's non-venomous. It's often misidentified as a copperhead.
So what was a water snake doing in our mulch pile?
I don't know. I don't know.
So we shouldn't have killed it.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't.
Oh boy. Starting to look good out here. I just had to come over here and see the chiddlers set up in the yard. That's a nice piece of cardboard for a big garden there, guys. But look, you've got a nice outdoor area set up. So some of you may or may not have heard me use the P word, permaculture. I'm doing a lot of permaculture around here, whether you know it or not, and you may be too. But what is permaculture? Well, I like to think of it as a design science where you work with nature rather than against it to produce more abundant landscapes with less work. Well, the best way to show permaculture is just by example. So let me just real quick give you a couple examples of what it teaches. One of the most important things that permaculture teaches you to do is observe nature. So let's take an observation. For example, look, we got tilled ground here. We got disturbed ground. What do you think nature's gonna do with that? That's right, kids, you got it right. It's gonna quickly get covered up. Weeds and grass. Why? Because nature abhors bare ground. Absolutely hates it. It doesn't like being naked. It's gonna cover itself up as soon as possible. So what we have learned through permaculture then is let's mimic that in our farm and garden practices. See right there, take my word for it. That was a pile of dirt not too long ago. Look what nature did. Covered it up. So I guess you could say nature is very modest. Pop quiz for you, Beauty.
Yo.
So if nature is very modest and wants to always cover up its bare ground,
right,
what should we do in the garden?
we should cover it.
That's genius.
It is.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, so there she is. She's mulching the herb garden here. We mulch in our kitchen garden. We mulch everywhere. On this farm, everything must be mulch. And in our case, wood chip. But you can help nature out and cover it with many other things. You can cover it with plants, cover crops, any kind of mulches you have. And once you work with nature in this garden, for example, mulching, we mulch and there will be so much less weeding for us. Sure, it's more work in the beginning, but we'll have less work throughout the season. Another big thing in permaculture is to make connections between things. You can be a good gardener and you can be a good chicken man, but until you make the connection between those two, you don't have permaculture. So once you figure out that, hey, the chickens till and fertilize and debug, and the garden needs that, and then the chickens need food, you see the connection there? You can feed the chickens from the garden, and the chickens provide what the garden needs. You see that connection? So here's what I've done. So what I've done here is actually put chickens on a future garden bed. They're in there tilling, they're in there fertilizing, they're harvesting old crops from the last crop we had going. I opened up the fence here, made a little corner so we could plant our plants. And now as these grow up, we can throw in our extras or our weeds or anything that is dying off, maybe some of the yellower stuff, and throw it into there, the chickens. And it just it's so easy. Just putting them in proximity of each other based on what they can do for each other has made all the difference in the world. And then guess what, guys? When we're done with this, we just open this fence up and they come in and clean it up for us and we start over again. So you guys want to know where I got my start with permaculture? I like to call him the grandson of permaculture. I think because it seems like he spent the most time with the granddaddy of permaculture, the founder, Bill Mollison. And who I'm talking about now is Jeff Lawton. He's doing so much for so much cool things. I saw his farm tour video. I'll link to it. I'll link to it down in the descriptions. You got to check it out. It's like 45 minutes or something crazy. And I didn't really understand permaculture at the time, but when I saw this farm tour, I did, because you see what it will do for you, the benefits, the massive production going on, the chickens planting food forests and working in the garden, and all these water systems and plants growing on fences and multi-purpose everything. And it'll light the fire and it'll pump you, won't it, Mr. Brown?
Okay, just
Jonah caught some.
Would they dog?
Careful, careful, careful.
Does that have to be a nail? Look, the nest. Where?